What is up, guys? I am here with one of my favorite clients ever, actually. Him and his wife are both in the program, and maybe you've seen him around. He's a man of God, but you guys help me welcome Landon to the channel. What's up, bro?
Dude, so glad to be here. It's going to be an awesome call.
100%, dude. So it's going to be a quick video. Essentially, I just want to highlight his business, what he does, and what the Lord's been doing, not just in him, but in his business. So, bro, we'll move pretty quick here. But, dude, tell me more about you and tell other people about you. Where were you, a year ago whenever you found me on the internet? What was that journey like, and what were you up to?
Man, a year ago when I found you on the internet. So I've been working in the agency space, so helping agency owners scale successful multi-6 and 7-figure businesses. And I built a video agency back starting in May of 2018, and scaled that thing up, had some good success there, but then felt a call to definitely start serving agency owners in a greater capacity, more so than even growing my own agency. So started doing that. And then I had a pretty crazy 2023 where in January of 2023, once I got back from Israel, I had a mass that started growing on my neck. So like my lymph nodes started getting swollen. Yeah. And then from January up until I think, November, basically, that mass continued to grow and grow and grow. And eventually it was like 4 inches by 4 inches. And, they would do all these tests, tell me it was all benign and everything. And finally got to a point where I was in so much pain, they had to take it out. And
he's not understating this. That was like, bro, your neck was like massive.
It was crazy. It was literally 4 inches by 4 inches. And your lymph node is like not palpable. So like your lymph nodes in your neck, like you can't feel them, but they were, that big to where people were walking up to me like, yo, what's wrong with your neck? What's wrong with you? And so basically why that relates to you and to this call and to this conversation is because back in November, I actually had surgery on my neck. And I had this crazy year of just like getting into the word and seeing what God's word said about healing and just believing. I built myself, my wife and I had built ourselves to such a point of faith that we actually genuinely believed in our soul and in our heart that I would wake up and that mass would just disappear. And so we did tons and tons of work on just understanding what God's word says about healing. And so basically like time went on, it continued to grow and we stayed in faith. And then when it came time to believe for surgery, it was super easy. So we're like, okay, well, this is nothing. We thought we were going to wake up one morning and this thing would be gone. And we were literally brainwashing ourselves with that level of faith. And so we were like, okay, cool. So a surgery is no big deal. So I had this insane surgery where they cut my entire neck open, messed with all the tendons in my arms and everything. And they had, they're telling me all the different risks with this thing. But like we had built ourselves to such a point of faith, it's like no big deal. So get the surgery done. We think the journey's over from there. And it's December, I think, when I met you, and I'd been seeing your ads and stuff for a while. And I was like, I got to talk to this guy. So I remember we were sitting down here in our basement when we used to have a TV right on that wall. And my wife and I, we were watching the IG growth funnel. We're like, holy cow, like this is it. Like we got to talk to this guy. So keep in mind, bro, like I went through all this stuff in a year, but the Lord had protected me the entire time. And I was able to just go full throttle with my business and ignoring this thing on my neck, ignoring the fact that I was having surgeries, like crazy stuff. And so we start working together. I think it's December. And then life gets even crazier. And I'm super grateful that I met you during that time because I didn't realize what we would be going through next. And so we start working together, get really great breakthrough, immediately start changing things in the business from an ads perspective, from a marketing perspective, and even from a positioning perspective. So I specifically work with agency owners, and I have a lot of the background in the video agency, the content agency space. And so we're rolling full steam ahead on that. And all of a sudden I get a call from Nebraska Cancer Center, and they're saying like, hey, you need to come in. We took the mass out. We did the biopsy, but you got to come in. Something's not right. So we go in, and the first thing they tell my beautiful wife, Megan, is that basically they're looking at both of us like your report that we just pulled from the biopsy is consistent with 2 types of aggressively spreading blood cancer. And you not only have one, but you have 2. And to make matters even worse, you have what's called a double hit and a 90% proliferation rate, which essentially means that the cancer spreads, it's in the 90th percentile of fast spreading cancers. So it doubles in size every 20 days. So the fact that the mass got so big is not surprising when you realize like it's exponential, right? Yeah. Over the course of a year. And so we get this news, and the very first thing they tell us is between the treatments and the cancer itself, like, you're probably never going to have kids. So go protect whatever fertility you have left, is what they said. That was a death blow, as you can imagine, to my beautiful wife. We just got married, back in 2022. And so we're ready to have kids. We're actually trying to have kids at that point. And so all this is happening when we're meeting with you. And I bring this all up because, like, if we wouldn't have like had the firm foundation of great friendships, of like people that like have the same level of faith as us, and because it's not enough to just have that in your house and like with your church and stuff. Like, when you're contending for your life at that level, you have to have that in every aspect of your life. And that's why I'm so grateful I met you and your wife too, is like, I knew that when I would bring something up, I wouldn't be looked at like a crazy person when I was working with you. And
right.
So anyway, they diagnosed me with multiple types of aggressively spreading blood cancer, and they said, go protect whatever fertility you have left. Meanwhile, we're trying to get pregnant. So we leave the hospital and we do something that is completely unheard of. We took the report that they gave us and we literally threw it away. And the whole way home, we listened to praise by Elevation Worship. And then my wife and I were literally made a decision. It's not easy to do because your flesh is barking at you for sure, but made a decision. I was like, you know what? We're going to dance around the house and we're going to listen to praise by Elevation Worship because, like, this isn't over and we're not done yet. So we're listening to this super loud worship music on the way home and then in our house. And we were like, no, this devil, like, you're not going to win. And this is not how it's going to end. It's not how our legacy and my bloodline ends. Like, it's not going to work. So basically, fast forward 2 weeks. We don't do anything. We didn't do all the treatments. They booked 9 appointments that day, and they're like, you need to be in treatment tomorrow. They're scheduling bone marrow biopsies, all these things, because it could spread to your bones, all this stuff. We ignore all of that because we believe that God sustained me to this point. There'll be no issues sustaining me until we have time to make a decision. His grace is sufficient. And so I was like, okay, cool. Well, we're not going to make a decision out of haste, and we're not going to make a decision out of fear. We don't make decisions out of fear. So I was like, all right, cool. We wait 2 weeks, and we go in for the scheduled appointment to protect fertility. And then the night before that, during date night, Megan takes a pregnancy test and she's pregnant. So that was the first of not the first, but another miracle in the process. And today I'm super grateful to say that our beautiful daughter is literally right upstairs, and she's perfectly healthy. She's perfect. Her name's Willow. And so that was like the first miracle. And then we said, we're not doing anything until we're pregnant. We just made that call. And then, so we got pregnant, and then a couple weeks later, another few weeks go by, and, I finally have peace to actually proceed forward with talking back to the doctors again. I'm like, okay, so what should I do? They're like, why weren't you in chemo 4 weeks ago? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, we didn't have peace about it. We don't move forward without peace. And so made a decision to ultimately proceed forward with chemotherapy. And little did I know, it was one of the most aggressive forms of chemotherapy that's out there. It's called REPOC, and it's basically where they treat your blood. Treat your blood. It's called treating to toxicity, where they toxify your blood for 5 days and 5 nights in the hospital. And then you have to recover for 16 days, which sounds as terrible as you could probably imagine that it is. Because basically what they do is, in order to kill the cancer cells, they have to toxify your blood. So all of your levels go to zero. So you have no immune system. Normal people would have no immune system. They wouldn't be able to work. They wouldn't be able to do anything. They'd be constantly nauseous. They wouldn't be able to function in life in general. None of that happened to me. The Lord literally protected me from all of that. So I coasted through 6 months of chemotherapy. And
bro, you were taking sales calls while getting chemo in the hospital. Yeah, I was like, bro, stop working. Like, you were on group calls literally right after you got chemo. They were
And
like pumping you full of stuff.
Yeah, literally hooked up to it.
So basically, guys, for everyone who doesn't know, Landon believes that the Lord is still a healer.
I know.
For those of you who are like, what on earth is this guy talking about right now? He has faith that God can heal. Keep going.
Yeah, and we just stood on that faith because the Bible is really clear about this stuff. Like, it says, by his stripes we are healed. So like, we were healed. So if that's true, and Jesus really did come down and take, you know, all these lashings on his back and went to the whipping post for us, not just for our salvation, for our healing. If that's true, and this book's true, and God's real, which he is, and the book is true, well then, why don't I just take it at face value and just accept it as truth? So I just did that. And I was like, all right, well, it says by his stripes I am healed. So why in the world would I be sick in the hospital bed? I'm going to take sales calls because a healthy person should be up working this time of day. That's what I told myself. So I would just wake up and like, I brought a treadmill to the gym. I didn't change like my routine. I tried to change it as little as possible because it was like the battle is won before before the war begins. So like I made a decision that this wasn't going to affect me. And then like, that was my confession, and God will meet you at your level of confession.
Wow.
But if your confession is, it's over, this is going to suck, I'm going to be sick the whole time, you will get exactly what you asked for, because it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if that's true, which it is, then you just have to align your level of confession. So I'm so grateful that I was able to live that fully, and then also get your guidance and your mentorship into growing this business. And I know that was a really long explanation, but it's tough to put 6 months into 5 minutes.
No, you're good. Let's talk about the business. When you found me, like what were things like? What were you doing?
Yeah, so we were struggling.
And you could speak for your wife too, because y'all both had two separate coaching businesses and joined.
Yeah, we were struggling to get appointments and struggling on the sales front too. And you know, we were doing okay. Like, we were doing, you know, $200,000-$300,000 a year, like fine. But we were looking to go to another level, and we were doing pretty consistent 20 to 30K cash per month. And we had months where we would do more contracted, but like the cash never really went above like 23K. And so I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. Like somebody else has to have a better solution. So we found you. We're watching this video. I had just gotten done with surgery, and this is pre-chemo. So I'm like, well, this is it. Like we're gonna like do this. So I hop on with you. We put something about our faith in the call, and we actually had a chance to speak with you, which is cool. And I was like, we just have to do this. So we both signed up like within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was the best choice we ever made, because not only did we get the guidance that we needed to ultimately, like in August, so just to share some numbers for people, because I know that like when Brandon shares screenshots and stuff, there can be skeptics out there. I'll just like help you guys right now. The numbers are real. I know the people that the screenshots are from, they're real people getting real results, and their lives are actually changing. So that's the first thing. But for me, we went from $23,000 cash per month to like fast forward into September. Now keep in mind, I'm in chemotherapy. I am literally getting pumped full of toxic poison 5 days a week and then recovering for 16 days. Our company still grew to $90,000 in cash collected in September, and then $100,000 cash collected in August. Like, think about that. So my thought is like, if it can work for me, I'm being under these insane circumstances where I'm not even home. It's tough for me to make ads in a hospital. Like if it works for me at that degree, like think about like, if you don't have any of those turbulent things going on in your life, how well it can work for you. And, so and Megan saw similar growth, and she actually, the crazy thing. So again, we got pregnant, right? So she had now a 9-month clock essentially from when we got pregnant to that point. And we're like, wow, okay, so it's like go time. So she implemented these same processes that you're teaching us with the IG growth funnel, the sales processes, and just like even being poured into by multiple members of your team. She was able to close enough business where she could take an entire 3 months off after Willow was born.
Wow.
That's like 60. I mean, I don't know exactly the numbers that represents in her business, but I mean, it's a significant amount, because she's, this isn't a hobby for her. She's had this business for 8 years.
Yeah.
And she was able to keep her income exactly the same, so that when I was going through chemo and then like, because that whole transition, there's so many things that could have gone wrong there, but because we had the right systems, and then even more importantly, I'd say like the right people in our corner, like the fact that I can talk to you and be like, hey, this is what we're going through. And that's what made all the difference for us.
I love that so much. That's awesome, bro. So what would you say to anyone who's listening to this and is like, man, I've been thinking about, joining the community? What would you say to them?
Do it. And here's why. Number one, doing this alone is really hard. And if you don't have the right systems and the right people in your corner, and you don't have other people you can bounce stuff off of, it's 5-10 times harder. I've gone through seasons, and this is how my wife and I work, and maybe the people that are listening to this will resonate. But like every time that I up level to a new level, it almost always requires that I get new mentorship. It almost always requires that I work with a new coach, or a coach that's going to push me to a higher level.
100%.
Because you don't know what's possible until you see other people like you, that talk like you, that act like you, doing it. And then when you see, because otherwise it's just you looking at gurus on YouTube or whatever. But when you meet real people that are doing this real revenue and real profit, you're like, it's different. And you go from like, oh, I think that could happen, to like, no, I'm going to make it happen for me. It can happen for me.
I'll never forget when I was riding in the car with the guy I used to work for, and he showed me his Stripe account where he had made $100,000 that month. And I was like, bro, so many limiting beliefs broke
just
off
shattered.
of me. And he was younger than me too. So it was like, not that age matters, because it literally doesn't. That's my whole point. I thought all these different things, because I was young too. I was like, maybe I have to be older first, blah, blah, blah. But it's like limiting beliefs break. So, dude, incredible story. We could talk for hours about you. This is more of like a client interview style, but dude, we need to do a podcast where we just dive deep
for sure
into your story. But yeah, like Landon said, if he could do it while going through all that, like there's no excuses. However, in business, nothing's guaranteed. We make no promises. These are Landon's results, right? If you want to get the results Landon got, you've got to do what Landon did. And that's the discrepancy, is most people aren't willing to do what Landon was willing to do, right? So it is available though. So if you feel like called to make a bigger impact, you're like, yo, I want to go to the next level. What I want you to do is click the link down below wherever you're watching this and book in a time to chat with us. And on that call, super chill, we're just going to get a sense of where you're at, where you want to get to, and see if we can help you navigate the roadmap to get where you want to go. Again, we don't work with everybody, so in order to work with us, there's got to be a few things on your end. However, if you feel led, what I want you to do is click the link down below right now to book in a call. Or if you want to connect with Landon, all his information is going to be in the video below too. So thank you guys for hanging out. Landon, was a great time, bro. Until next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon.